Good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining me today. I know it's a Friday afternoon, Memorial Day weekend, and we want to pause. I'm inviting you to pause and spend some time in your internal self. Whether you're watching this live with me now or if you're plugging in a little bit later, I so appreciate you being a part of this community. I really do sense your presence as we meditate and pray together. And I guess right now I think that's really especially needed. You know, as the world opens up and doors fling open, and maybe people are rushing to get out. And I so understand that. And I hope as we do that, I hope that we retain a sense of this quietness that perhaps we've acquired during this time. So with that backdrop, it makes me especially grateful to have you among my community and praying with me today. And I hold this time with you so very sacred, so I just want you to know how grateful I am. We're going to continue our meditation today with Teresa of Avila, with her reflections contained in her book, The Interior Castle. It really is a journal of the spiritual journey that we are all undertaking, wherever we are, whether we are aware of it or not. There are 7 rooms, or 7 dwellings, as she calls them, and we are really at the earliest stages of exploring the first dwelling, which is awakening. Last week we reflected on the childhood part of that, and how children see through the eyes of the beloved. And many see actually beyond the physical realm into the spiritual realm, to the psychic realm. We explored how we too, as adults, can regain that godly sight by opening ourselves and seeing beyond who and what we think we are. And we spent some time reflecting on that last week. Well, today we're going to move into our adolescent phase, as Teresa moved into her adolescent phase, and reflect on how that has shifted us out of that childlike innocence into perhaps a more blurry sense of who and what we're about. And so with that, I'm going to turn the monitor and we'll be reflecting on a candle today. And I invite you to settle in, take some deep breaths, and I'll begin with our reflection. And so as I adjust the camera, again, just settle more deeply into your prayer mat, into your chair, or into whatever posture you're holding during this meditation time. I invite you to take a few deep breaths. Allow the day's events to drift away. Allow the weekend's plans to drift away for just now, as we give ourselves permission to become fully present to this moment in this time, so that we can hear Teresa speaking to us across the ages, across the realms. As she says, "For now I realize what a danger it is, at an age when one should begin to cultivate the virtues, to associate with people who do not know the vanity of the world, but rather are just getting ready to throw themselves into it." And our reflection: Teresa moved from her saintly childhood desires to an adolescent romanticism. She was focused on societal and personal honor, with the ways of the world seeming far more exciting than the life of spiritual martyrdom that had previously inspired her. Owing to a dubious relations with a particular cousin, however, her father arranged for Teresa to be sent to an Augustinian convent, where she stayed for a year, much to her chagrin. In her autobiography, Teresa mentions repeatedly the importance of good companionship and talks about how easy it is to be misled by others, especially during adolescence. She remembers the innocence of her childhood and how quickly it eroded when she imitated her friends. We too do this. Our original godly vision becomes blurry and desires become distorted, with the soul beginning its journey into a state of confusion and a lack of fulfillment. The adolescence that Teresa wrote about does not just relate to teenagers, but also to adults in their spiritual adolescence. This is the time when we become awakened to the reality of our true nature, waiting to be reborn. We may catch glimpses of this marvelous being that we are, but like an adolescent moving back and forth between the childhood and the adult realms, we too alternate between the old society-formed self and the newly emerging inner beloved self. It is necessary, advised Teresa, to be vigilant about how this birthing process unfolds. We need to take care when choosing the people we associate with. This is not a call to be judgmental of others, but rather to make a choice that will enable us to grow to our greatest potential. We must remember, however, that our friends do not always truly support our spiritual growth. In fact, very often they can reinforce our patterns of dependency or insecurity or inability to be intimate. For Teresa, the greatest virtue was the growth of our soul. By attending to this growth, she believed we can discover the power that we are all born with. Be vigilant, she warned. Watch closely as you grow into yourself spiritually, and allow for change and growth to occur, both in your friends and you. And now for our meditation. As we move into silence, reflecting upon these words of wisdom, I invite you to fall into a great and loving silence, allowing your loved ones to greet you. Without the need for judgment or action, simply let them speak to you. Let the truth of their interaction become clear to you. Bless them all with love and offer them to your beloved self, asking that the greatest good for all come to be. For now I realize what a danger it is, at an age when one should begin to cultivate the virtues, to associate with people who do not know the vanity of the world, but rather are just getting ready to throw themselves into it. Amen. Well, my friends, again, I'm just so glad that you're here to meditate with me, to pray with me, to reflect with the teachings of St. Teresa of Avila, to be able to breathe deeply into this time and into this space with you has been just really special. And so I pray you have a good weekend. I pray this time stays peaceful. And I invite you to set an intention for the week, for this weekend, as we move through these changing times. So may you be at rest, may you find peace, and may you continue to move towards God's light. Namaste.